Greetings and salutations. Thank you for lending an ear to The Voice of the Times this Monday, December 7, 2020. For today's editorial, Boost the Whole Economy, Not Just Domestic Tourism. Probably because he has been personally traveling to Palawan and other local destinations, Palace spokesman Harry Roque Jr. has lately been talking up domestic tourism and its potential contribution to bringing down the unemployment rate. This is a narrow and limited perception of the entire problem of joblessness and the bigger problem of economic recession. Let's hope Roque's approach is not summarily adopted by the rest of the administration, particularly the economic managers. What is really needed is a whole-of-economy approach to boost all economic sectors and revive jobs all over the nation. What triggered Secretary Roque's musings on unemployment was the recent report of the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, that about 3.8 million Filipinos aged 15 years old and above are unemployed, on account principally of the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdowns imposed to help contain it. The PSA reported that Metro Manila has the highest unemployment rate at 12.4%, followed by the Ilocos region at 11.5%. and Calabarzon or Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon at 11%. In all, about 4.5 million Filipinos have been rendered jobless this year, with the unemployment rate jumping to 10.4%, the highest in 15 years. The figures reflect the impact of the government's large-scale lockdowns to prevent the spread of COVID-19, paralyzing economic activities and magnifying hunger and poverty. Roque then tied the unemployment situation to his recent experiences traveling in the provinces, particularly Palawan, and he had a brainstorm that domestic tourism would be key to boosting unemployment across the whole archipelago. During a virtual press briefing on Saturday, Roque said the palace was saddened by the PSA report. He said this was why the government is pushing domestic travel to support tourist industry workers and businesses. We are saddened by the high number of unemployed citizens. This is why our advocacy now is to promote places open for tourism, Roque said. Napakadali pong magbigay ng hanap buhay sa turismo kaya sinusuportahan po natin sa ating mga press briefing. It is easy to provide jobs in tourism, that's why we support this in our press briefings, he added. On Thursday, Roque traveled to Palawan to promote the reopening of its tourism industry to help boost employment among residents. He also recently visited other tourist places like Baguio City, Boracay Island, and Bohol, and held press briefings with local officials. Roque also tried to make a story of the fact that he reportedly spends his own money on his trips to tourist destinations because of the limited budget of his office. It's mostly my personal funds, no kidding, he said when asked about the funding for his trips. He said his office has a budget of only 800,000 pesos, approved during his predecessor's time. Whatever the facts and the figures of Roque's budget, however, he should desist from making an analysis of our national economic situation based on his personal circumstances. He is not, as far as we know, a member of the team of economic managers whose principal task is to solve the economic recession and return the country to economic dynamism and high growth. It would be far better if Roque uses his privileged position in the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, of which he is the spokesman, to speak out for the full revival of the economy and rein in its tendency to impose draconian restrictions on the people, the communities, and economic life in general. Domestic tourism, like all of tourism in general, is clearly a vital sector of the economy, but its revival alone, no matter how successful, will not stop the recession or reverse unemployment and the specter of joblessness. We need to revive and boost the entire economy and the whole archipelago. It is a fact that the dismal economic numbers were caused by the prolonged economic lockdowns imposed by the government in its frantic effort to contain or control the pandemic. And the unemployment rate only started to decelerate when the government moved aggressively to reopen the economy, not just piecemeal, but as a whole. And that's the editorial for Monday, December 7, 2020. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to our digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and listen to The Voice of the Times.